Heather, what's your favorite holiday?
Ooh, that's a tough one, B. Okay, so who doesn't love Christmas? Because, we have the whole birth of Jesus thing. And then we also have, forced family fun where we all pose for pictures like we're having the best time ever.
That's a you thing.
Maybe. And then there's Valentine's Day, where obviously I'm showered with love and adoration. And then let's not forget Mother's Day, my personal day of glory where everyone celebrates me all day.
Let's remember the instructions. Pick one.
All right. So are we talking about for me or for like my
Heather.
whole family? Okay. If I have to pick, and this is weird, I pick 4th of July because I love the summer. I love all things beach and summer and water and fireworks and hanging out and grilling out. So 4th of July is my favorite.
Well, at least you didn't pick Taylor Swift's birthday.
Yeah, B, everything in my life is not about Taylor Swift. Anyway, what about you? What's your favorite holiday? Today? Like Thursday?
Like December 5th.
Okay, what's so special about December 5th?
Well, to start with, in Europe, it's traditionally St. Nicholas's Day.
Okay, we're in America.
You just said that July 4th. Next, this is the date that Pope Innocent VIII declared witchcraft by papal decree forbidden.
Oh, well, that's a big one. Yep.
It's World Soil Day.
Oh, are we digging a hole after this?
You might be.
You might be right now.
And also, Walt Disney was born on this day.
Oh, well, I didn't realize you were such a history buff. And, I mean, who doesn't love Walt Disney? But do these really top all the other holidays?
I could really care less about Walt Disney. And everyone has a birthday, and they really had nothing to do with it. That was their mommy and daddy. So I don't know what the big deal is. And really, witches, they get a bad rap. I just saw Wicked. She's hot.
She's pretty cool.
Yep.
So why is today your favorite holiday?
Because today, we celebrate the greatest moment in government history. When they had to admit they were completely wrong.
Oh, you mean...
Happy Repeal Day, Heather.
Oh, God.
What's up, Heather?
What's up, B? And welcome, everyone, to Tortured Bourbon. We are so thankful for every one of you who keeps coming back and for any of you who are new here. Seriously, you are the reason we can justify all of this madness.
Well, if this is your first time here, welcome. Do us a favor. Click the like and subscribe button. It's quick. It's painless. Honestly, it's cheaper than therapy, which we desperately need.
You need, B. Check out our social media, grab some merch, and yes, we are looking into professional help for B.
You kid because you care.
That's definitely why.
That's it.
So anyway, tonight we are celebrating the repeal of the 18th Amendment, everybody's least favorite amendment.
You better believe it. That's right. In 1920, the federal government decided to outlaw alcohol.
Boo.
Because a group of little old ladies with questionable haircuts convinced people it would save our souls, reduce violence, and make us a better nation.
And how did that work out?
Well, let's see. Organized crime flourished. Major shout out to Al Capone and Lucky Luciano, who turned bootlegging into a booming business. Speakeasies popped up literally everywhere, and illegal gambling took off.
So basically, it created a crime wave.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else?
Oh, yeah. Well, the government spent a fortune it didn't have on fighting a whole new level of crime, but they did it without the tax revenue from the alcohol sales that they weren't allowing. So
they lost money and then spent more money to try to enforce the thing that was making them lose money.
That's it.
Brilliant, honestly.
Brilliant.
Okay, so, but at least tell me that people were healthier and happier and spending less money because they weren't drinking, correct?
Actually, most statistics say that drinking went up.
Oh, yeah.
And then we entered the Great Depression.
Perfect. So it was just a bang-up time. So what you're telling me is that legislating morality was a giant swing and a miss.
Kind of like Cats the movie.
Ouch. So December 5th, 1933, Congress finally repealed Prohibition. And what was the outcome of that, B?
Well, alcohol production and sales became regulated and safe, creating legal jobs and boosting tax revenue. States got control over their own booze laws, which is why some places are still weird. Shout out North Carolina.
So that is why we raise a glass to Repeal Day.
Imagine that. Cheers.
Speaking of raising a glass, what are we drinking tonight, B?
Appropriately, Old Forester Prohibition Style Bourbon.
Excellent choice, B.
Yeah. Prohibition Style Bourbon by Old Forester is a love letter to the whiskey that survived Prohibition. At 115 proof, it's bold, it's complex, teeny bit rebellious. Just like this speakeasy. Except I'm bald, complex, and a little rebellious.
There we go.
But it honors those speakeasies and those rebellious bootleggers.
So during Prohibition, Old Forester was actually one of the only 6 distilleries licensed to produce medicinal whiskey. That's right, prescription bourbon was a thing.
Calling my doctor tomorrow.
You let me know how that goes.
All right.
So this bourbon is a tribute to that legacy, offering a flavor profile that feels like it belongs in a bootlegger's flask.
Yeah, let's break that down. Like we said earlier, the proof is 115.
Woo!
That's 57.5 ABV. That's strong enough to want to smuggle this under your coat.
Warm you up at night.
Yep. Mash bill, 72% corn. So we're going to look for some sweetness. 18% rice. We're going to look for a little spice. 10% malted barley to get things going.
All right, so you want to get started with our tasting process? But I think this time we're going to go in order, right? Nose, palate, and finish.
Yep. And as we can see, this is it's 115, and
it's a dark amber.
It's a dark amber. It's a dark amber, and it's got a little rough to it there. Ooh, yeah, I like that.
We know how you feel about your legs.
She knows how to use them. So what it tells us we should get is cherry preserves.
Okay.
Caramel, dark chocolate, maple syrup, and seasoned oak.
All right, let's see if we get any of that, B.
Maple syrup.
But cherry. And this is the first time that I have gotten a little bit of a chocolate scent. It's a hint. It's a very small hint. It's a little bit almost masked by the caramel and the maple.
So the maple syrup was big for me, and I believe you wanted the dark chocolate.
I'm not getting the cherry.
I am not a dark chocolate person.
Oh my gosh, I love dark chocolate.
I'm not a dark chocolate person.
I'll forgive you.
Although the more bourbon I drink, I might become
a dark chocolate person.
I do get, obviously, the maple syrup. I get the caramel.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you, B, I might convert you. Ghirardelli makes these little dark chocolate squares that have raspberry filling. That with a bourbon, like a complex, slightly sweet bourbon.
You got any in your pocket?
I got no. It'd be melted by now. Next time.
All right, so
let's see. So I don't get the cherry, but I get most of what else they're talking about.
Well, the cherry, I get some sweetness, and I'm
maybe that's the cherry.
Well, I'm saying it's caramel, but that also could be the dark chocolate. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could see where.
Yeah, you ready to taste?
Absolutely.
So for the palate, we're supposed to get some dark caramel, some malt nuttiness, and for me, a dark caramel implies a caramel that you've kind of cooked a little bit longer. That would also create some nuttiness.
Yep.
Graham cracker sweetness and a hint of cedar, which I personally have not tasted cedar, but we'll go with it.
I've never chewed on cedar. I've smelled it.
Oh, I've had many of things kept in a cedar hope chest before. That's a very southern thing. Those things will snap a finger off too if you let that lid fall.
They will. Why is it called a hope chest?
Because of brides putting all of their stuff they wanted to take with them when they got married. It's very antiquated. You think I filled a hope chest with things I hand sewed for my husband?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Don't. Okay, I definitely get some caramel.
Yep.
But it's not a light, syrupy, sweet caramel.
No. This is a little more complex.
I get the nuttiness towards the end.
Yes.
Almost that, I'm going to use the word bitter, but I don't mean it in a bad way. It's almost like it's cut a little, the sweetness is cut a little bit by bitterness. And that's kind of what I'm getting here. I really get the nuttiness the more I taste it.
I don't get a ton of oak, but I get the nutty.
I'm getting the nutty a lot. And a little bit of the graham cracker.
Yep.
Because again, all of these things.
That's the sweetness.
But it's not. But that again, it's not overly sweet.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Because even graham cracker is not overly sweet.
That's a great description.
Several months ago, this would have, I think, just tasted hot to us. Hot and spicy. And we would not have pulled out any sweetness. And because I think back then, when you hear sweetness, you think the caramel and vanilla. You think classic sweetness. You don't recognize the natural sweetness that some things can have.
And a nut has sugar. And graham crackers have sugar, but they're not sugar-coated.
They're not overly sweet, like you said. And the nut, even like I was saying, dark chocolate, dark caramel, like that caramel when it's almost burnt but not quite.
Here, I get the maltiness. Now, what I will say is the 115 proof, if you chew it on the front end, you will start to get the alcohol in your lips. I do get that.
And the front of your tongue.
Yep. It will give you a little burn there. And I think I don't think that's the rye. I think the fact it's 115 proof.
I agree with you. It's the proof.
I think the rye gives us at the end a little spice.
I agree with that. But if you can kind of chew this one back a little bit, you're going to get a better flavor profile than, like you said, you kind of start immediately up front. You get a little more of the burn from the 115 proof. So if you can move it back a little bit before you kind of marinate on it.
Now, it says a Finnish smoky toasted marshmallow with tart apple crispness. Oh, wow, that was something. Thank you for telling me to chew it on the back.
What'd you get that time?
Back of the tongue, completely different.
Yep. Nuttiness.
Yes. No burn in the front. Oh, wow.
It's totally different,
We're
right?
doing that again.
I get toasted. I get where they're going with that.
Ooh, that is a nice finish.
It's a good finish. I love the nuttiness. And do you see what I was saying about, like, have you ever had a dessert in a fancy restaurant that, again, it's almost like burnt caramel. It's not quite.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
It's there, and it's not quite bitter, but it's almost bitter, but it retains just a little bit of sweetness. Like, that's the finish for this one for me, is that type of thing. It's a rich, complex finish that's not overly sweet, but it's not bitter, and it's not overly spicy.
So what I'm taking from this episode is that bourbon is a journey. We used to think that 100 proof was a little high. In 110 or 115, we
weren't going to taste anything.
That's right.
Except the proof.
And all we got was burn. And we truly only got burn. I remember the first time we actually had Prohibition Style, and I was looking forward to it, and it just burned me out.
Yeah.
So, but we've really challenged ourselves to taste some things. We're learning that as we explore bourbon and as we taste bourbon, these flavors do change over time in your palate. And that makes it very complex. But you've got to give it time.
And yourself time.
Absolutely.
To learn and to develop your palate and to recognize that it's okay if my preferred palate is not the same as yours.
Absolutely.
And even if you don't love something, you can still learn to pick out the different flavors.
I do think that that's what makes bourbon unique over something like vodka. Aged tequila, aged bourbon, and aged scotch really can bring out some very unique flavors.
Absolutely. I think one of the coolest things about bourbon is that it makes people like you and I, who are otherwise go, 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 it makes us slow down a little bit. Because if you don't, you won't enjoy it. If you just drink it like you would anything else, you're going to be like, oh, that's burn. And you're maybe not going to like it, or you're going to mix it and go on with your day. So if you really want to learn to like it and appreciate it, you have to slow down.
That's cock of the walk for me.
Ooh, oh, you're pulling out the big guns. Tell me why.
Because of you. The finish chewing on the back end.
The
front's good. The front's good, but the front's good as any of the Husher Mouse we've had.
I agree with that.
But the chew on the back end is giving me something different. And it's giving me something different than the Old Forester Bottled in Bond, which I really like.
Yeah, we both really liked that one.
But this gives me something different.
It's cock of the walk for me because, A, the complexity. I have learned that I really like bourbons and whiskeys where I taste multiple different things. Number 2, for being 115 proof, that finish, there's not a burn there. You taste
There's not a burn for us now.
Right. And you taste so many different things. Number 3, shout out to one of my friends who has recently gotten into bourbon. And off the bat, this became one of his favorites. He actually bought a multi-pack. It's like a holiday pack of Old Forester.
Yeah.
It comes in like 3 different bottles. And he went back to the ABC store yesterday to get a full bottle of this. And he doesn't even love higher proof. But he's like, it's really good. And I'm like, hey, if you need to put it over ice or put some drops of water in it to make it be what it needs to be for you, go for it. So B, what does this run us price-wise?
All right, so this runs you $55 a bottle. Like I said, I don't want to mix it. I don't want to see other people mix it.
I would not mix this.
Because I've said it is a cock of the walk.
No notes. 10 for 10.
You know what?
10 out of 10, Old Forester. Well done.
And that's why Repeal Day is the best holiday. Because we got to sit here without threat of going to jail.
Yes, we did. And
Elliot Ness did not come through the door.
No, he did not.
But if he was being played by Kevin Costner.
He could come hang on the podcast.
And Sean Connery.
They can come hang on the show. They can come
there.
hang on the show.
Have you seen that movie? Have you seen The Untouchables?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yes. Shout out to Old Forester for your cheeky nod to Rebels Everywhere during Prohibition.
Absolutely. And let's shout out Percy Flowers. So Percy Flowers was the #1 bootlegger on the eastern side of the North Carolina. Ended up on the cover of Time magazine. You know how they never caught him?
How?
Because while he was a bootlegger, he managed to also make sure he paid for all the roofs on all the local churches and took care of all those family groups. So Percy Flowers, here's to you, buddy.
Here's to you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Y'all. Woo! We need to dance. Let's go.